Welcome to Amazing Mind, the HMI Web TV talk show that introduces you to all sorts of interesting people and topics related to subconscious behavior. My name is Lisa Mackenberg, hypnotherapist, HMI instructor, and host. Today we have an amazing guest. My guest is Dr. Reese Halter. Now, Dr. Reese is a biologist at Cal State Lutheran. You also may recognize him from his work on MSNBC, where he is the environmental expert. And certainly you'll know him from Dr. Reese's Planet on PBS. He's also a best-selling author. And today we're going to talk about his book, The Incomparable Honeybee. Please help me welcome my guest, Dr. Reese Halter. Well, Dr. Reese, I want to start with the most exciting stuff first. Tell me, how are honeybees being used as teeny tiny little diagnosticians in the field of medicine?
Well, they're helping us determine diseases like tuberculosis, coronary heart disease, diabetes, and they're helping women determine their ovulation cycles. These little friends are incredible.
How are they doing that?
We are able to train a honeybee with any scent on planet Earth within 5 minutes to a 98% accuracy. Once the bee smells the scent, they rush toward the patient's breath. So the patient breathes into these beautiful apparati, and the bee comes right to them.
Well, how do we train honeybees to be able to detect any scent on Earth?
We take a little drop of corn syrup and we insert the scent into the drop, and the bee associates the scent with the sugary corn syrup. So they automatically, their tongue comes out, and they know that that's what they're after.
So, as we know, 1 out of every 6 couples is having problems with fertility now.
Yeah.
So they can actually determine when a woman is ovulating?
Absolutely right, and the cost is, of course, very minimal compared to other tests. Mm-hmm. And they're being used in Great Britain right now, and I predict quite soon in America we're going to start to see our friends, the honeybees, in doctors' offices.
Do you only use one honeybee for this?
We can use a couple bees. We could use just one. They do have a couple in the glass apparatus. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing is, after the bees are used, they are taken back unharmed and put back into the hive. So this is a non-invasive, non-hurtful diagnostic, and it's wonderful.
See, it's not like the old-fashioned one when the rabbit had to die to determine if someone was pregnant.
That's true.
So the honeybees go back to their hive.
Yeah.
How are honeybees being used in law enforcement?
Well, again, they can sense any smell. So whether it's narcotics, whether it's bombs. They're trained, and in fact, in war zones, the bees are being used to sense these IUDs, which, when you think about it, the sniffer dogs take 6 months to be trained, $10,000, and you have to have a vet in the combat zone. The honeybee can nail it very quickly and very inexpensively.
Well, it seems so inexpensive compared to the dogs because, first of all, it takes so much money to train one. You got to have a pocket full of doggy treats, right? And then I was reading about sniffer dogs in anticipation of this interview.
Yeah.
And they can be kind of fickle. They can be in bad moods. They can choose not to do it.
Yeah.
What about the honeybees?
Well, the honeybees are our friends. They just launch into whatever they're doing, and they're after the sense that we have trained them. And the bee, as I said earlier, can hit it at 98%. The sniffer dog is only 70%.
Yes.
And on a more human level, one of my best friends in the whole world is my dog, and these sniffer dogs do get maimed and hurt. And so we don't want to see that, and the bees are going to help us.
Well, I have to ask a question everybody wants to know. Bees at an airport. Now, certainly, I'd rather have bees than one of those big, scary detection things that you have to go through.
Yeah.
But people are afraid of bees. They're afraid they're going to get stung.
Well, I don't blame them, but the bees are separated. There's no way they can get out. As a matter of fact, there's a little shoebox. 3 bees are strapped. They use 3 bees in the airports because they need at least 2 of the 3 to stick out their tongues.
So we're doing this by committee?
Yes.
They deliberate
by
in the
committee.
box?
They deliberate by, well, we'll get to that in a moment, but bees do vote, incidentally, and they do get, if they get 13 bees in the wild, you got your quorum. But anyway, here's the deal. At the airport, they are strapped safely down so they don't escape, and they're the big sniffers at Gatwick and Heathrow are $200,000-$300,000 machines.
Yes.
And the accuracy is still not there. We had that unhappy person who boarded the airplane and was en route to Detroit, who had some kind of explosive, and had that individual gone through these very expensive devices in England, he would not have been discovered. Had a bee been around him, they would have picked it. So, you know, there's, from a cost efficiency point of view, heck.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So now we know that bees are diagnosticians. They also provide medicine for us. How?
Yeah, the bee venom is the very exciting thing. I mean, the awful autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis, is debilitating, painful. The bee venom does help people with MS. If you have tendinitis, arthritis, or fibromyalgia, the bee venom is offering unbelievable hope and relief. And it's a classified drug in Europe, Western Europe, so it's just a matter of time before it comes over here. And
Yes.
It's very exciting.
Well, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about what's happening to the honeybees. A lot of people, when we talk about bees, are saying, well, didn't I hear that they're disappearing?
Yeah.
What's happening to our honeybees?
Yeah, well, the bees are the modern-day canary in the coal mine, and we are poisoning our planet at an unbelievable rate every day, and the bees are dying.
But why are they important? Why should we care?
Well, we need to care because of the 100 crops that feed 90% of planet Earth, 74% of them are bee-pollinated. We're out of business without the bees.
Yes. Well, you brought us some things to show
Yeah.
us how can we help the bees in the global community.
Yeah, I mean, at a very basic level, here we've got a tomato plant, and I work with a lot of kids, and to get kids excited about nature, in this case, you see the lovely little yellow flower on the tomato plant. Mm-hmm. The tomatoes require the bumblebees, the bigger, the Harley Davidson of the bee world, mm-hmm. to pollinate. And a great way to show kids how important the bumblebees are, show them a tomato plant, and within 8 weeks we've got their fruit, and it's very, it's cost efficient. You know, each of us we are what we eat, and we need to take our own food into our own hands, and we're asking people not to use herbicides, insecticides, miticides, and fungicides at home. Provide a safe nectar zone for our urban bees. Grow food. We'd like everybody to have at least one fruit tree at home, because that's food, and it's a safe nectar zone for our bees. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have a yard, well, you can have a little pot on your balcony. Yes. And grow some tomatoes or peppers. So very important, Lisa.
Also, with all the stress coming in, Dr. Reese,
yeah.
if we can provide our own food, yeah. know it's safe and healthy,
yeah.
show our children that we can have sustainable food in our
yeah.
house, well, we've hit a control. We're taking back the control of our own
yeah.
food, our own families,
yeah.
and our own lives.
Yeah, and lastly, with hay fever season upon us, if we support our local beekeepers, Google them, go to the farmers markets. We're very blessed in Malibu and Santa Monica to have world-famous markets, but if we buy honey from our local beekeepers, we're actually getting the pollen locally, and it'll strengthen our autoimmune systems so that we won't have the sniffles as badly, and we won't need some of these very harsh pharmaceutical drugs.
Yes.
You know, nature's got all her own medicines.
Yes.
We just have to know where to go to get them.
what would be the advantage of buying local honey rather than going to the biggest chain we can find and buying honey right off the shelf?
Well, first of all, the local beekeepers need our support big time. They're copping it with the bee deaths. That means they've got to go out and buy more bees. It costs them a lot. And also, on a global effort, our global food security is not safe. There are chemicals that are poisonous. China is the biggest honey producer in the world. They use chemicals that have been banned here in America.
Oh, wow.
And lately we've discovered hundreds of millions of microfiltered honey that have entered the United States. And that means that all of the nutrients and the pollen and the wax has been taken away. And we can't actually tell where the honey's from. So you don't want to be going and buying a generic honey. You want to go and help our local beekeepers. They need us.
Well, you know, I love what you said, just on a very practical point, that if we're living locally and we're being bothered by local pollens, having local honey with the local pollens in it can help us to feel better, to feel more in control, to stay away from the harsh pharmaceuticals by helping ourselves. We're helping our families, we're helping our communities, and we are helping our planet.
Yeah. And, you know, lastly, I was going to say, we're not that dissimilar from the bees. Look, the bees like nicotine. We like nicotine. The bees like cocaine. We like cocaine.
Oh, yeah.
The bees like to vote. We like to vote. Bees like to travel. We like to travel. And they protect their queen. And we, you know, some countries protect their queens. So.
See, in England, where they're using them at the airport.
That's exactly right.
And they're all protecting the queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Dr. Reese, we have to take a short break. But I want to thank you so much for coming on my show, Amazing Mind. Everybody is going to want to know more about the incomparable honeybee. I recommend that everyone buys this book. This is a bestseller. It's available on Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, and in your local
bookstore. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming on
the
the show.
Do the bee thing, yes.
We'll do the bee thing.
Right.
That was my bee ring. Please stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to meet another guest and continue to explore the amazing mind. Thank you. Did you have some fun?
Good one.